was introduced to the local musician Louis Knudsen in early 2017. Many of Louis Knudsen's songs are important to me, but I kept coming back to one song in particular, Heaven on Earth. Heaven on Earth holds a lot of sentiment to me. I will be discussing Louis Knudsen's backstory, my memory associated with the song, and the meaning of the song itself. To give some background, Louis Knudsen is a local musician. He is based in Rock Island, Illinois. According to LouisKnudsen.com, Louis was waiting tables in Chicago in 2007 to 2008. He was also writing songs all the time and unsure about what to do with his music. But in 2009, he decided to put music on the side, and he went to South Korea to teach English. While in South Korea, he met a few other musically inclined English teachers, and they formed a band called Takeout. Louis came back to the United States in 2011. After he returned, he decided to take his music more seriously. He played live music in senior living homes, restaurants, cafes, bars, and wineries, basically anything that would pay him. In doing that and getting the exposure, he was able to finally say that as of 2018, 100% of his income came from his music. In 2018, in order to celebrate becoming a full-time musician, he decided that he would write and record a new song each week. The songs that Louis felt were the best went into an album he titled 2018. In 2020, Louis Knudsen found himself on the edge of a precipice. The COVID pandemic forced him to find other avenues that were not live music. This had a huge impact on Louis because he mostly did live music. He did some Facebook performances for a little bit and received a ton of support, but he had to find a more stable way to make up for the loss. He ended up getting one of his songs on a commercial in France. Louis Knudsen's career is making leaps and bounds. He hasn't been in the music business for very long, and he was able to make a lot of progress in a small amount of time. I have been a big supporter of Louis Knudsen since 2017. I have shared his music with many of my friends and family. One of the main things my fiance and I discussed a lot in the beginning of our relationship was our love for music. In 2018, my mom told me that Jared messaged her to ask her to take me to do something fun a little over an hour and a half away. She said that she could not tell me where it was we were going. Later that day at my sister's house, my sister tells me she also knows where Jared and I will be going. I asked her what he planned for us to do, but she only asked me what my favorite band was. So I started to think long and hard about who it was we could be seeing and where it was we could be going. I even checked Louis Knudsen's Facebook page to see if he had posted anything about any upcoming shows, and he had not. It wasn't until about 45 minutes into our long drive that I realized where we were going. We had passed a sign that said Rock Island, and I looked at Jared, very confused, but also very excited. I had been talking about wanting to see Louis Knudsen live for a long time, and I had been talking about it quite frequently. When we parked and turned the car off, I could hear the music from inside the car. We approached the entrance and went past Louis as he was performing, and he waved at us when we went by. We chose our seats and listened to him play. When he finished his song, he asked me the song I wanted to hear, and I quickly thought of my favorite song, but then I thought of the circumstances and decided to go with Heaven on Earth. After the show, we chatted about music and about his upcoming album 2018, which I mentioned previously. This moment was something that I will remember forever because it meant a lot to me that Jared would do something like that for me, and it was the nicest thing that anybody had ever done for me that far into my life. And I also got to meet and see Louis Knudsen perform live. I reached out to Louis via Facebook Messenger and asked him about the backstory to Heaven on Earth. He wrote back and told me that Heaven on Earth is unique to me because I almost never use other people's stories as a basis for songwriting. However, there's a story my dad always told me growing up where he was really into fixing his car, drinking, and partying. Louis explained that at a point in his dad's life, his dad had a spiritual awakening and became closer to God. When I first heard the song, I assumed the song was written about Louis Knudsen's wife, like many of his other songs. I assumed it was written with the purpose of being romantic, but Louis explains the main idea of the song as being known and loved by someone else can break the power of materialism and make us feel nearly invincible to fear, knowing we have found heaven on earth. In the end, the song is about whatever you interpret it to be about. For me, it was about love, but for someone else, it could be about God or another loved one. Again, the song Heaven on Earth has a lot of sentiment for me. Louis Knudsen is a local musician that made a huge impact on my life. I have shared with you my memory associated with the song, Louis Knudsen's story, and the meaning behind the song itself. Louis has since released a single this year on Valentine's Day called Not in a Million Years. He also released an album in 2021 called In My Wildest Dreams.